I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
I can hear you. Hello.
Hello. Just a moment.
Can you hear me?
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'll continue.
Yes. I just finished that. And then there's the fire of the coexistence. And in Brazil, we are called even the mark of the country of everybody. Yeah, that holds everybody because this origin of the capital that we don't know, that's the erased of our history. Yes, it's a civilized
Okay.
environment in Africa because in Europe, you know, the people that migrate, they are refused, they are not accepted. Yes, the European countries, they are not the North countries, they have the tradition of not accepted. Yes, not accepted
Okay.
further. You know, and now we have in Africa. What in African countries as it is? What is what they reflect that, for example, Nigeria is a country of too many people, too many different people, and they coexist.
Okay.
It's the same fire of the coexistence of among the Fon and the Yoruba coexistence. You know, so the nations coexist without too many conflicts till nowadays because this ancient values, otherwise should be the separate again in essence tribal wars. You know, so because of that, that keeps Africa is still united the countries. You know, we have to know our history, and I'm sure you didn't know too many of these things. You know, for example, one example that the chant of faith of the Yoruba, sorry by the tunnel, and who that creates the man, you lay down to him. Who that creates the mankind, the man, as by their natural, instinctive nature, the intuitive nature, and their way they follow, they search the truth. I will respect him. I will lay down to him. That is the chant of
Okay.
faith of Yoruba. You know? So it's the brother of mankind, the Africa. The Africa is like that. The acceptation, the Africa, they see the concept of brothers of the same mankind. You know, even different the way of think, the religion, the natural instinct at origin. Nowadays, for example, we see persecution against LGBT people in too many countries in Africa. But in origin of Africa, even the origin where of the creation was androgynous. Yes, we didn't have this that we have now. That's a proselytism from Christians and Muslims. You know, the origin was not like that. Was different. The natural, instinctive, the orientation, sexual orientation, the instinctive. Even the people are for the celibate, or for the people are heterosexual, homosexual. It doesn't matter. You know, the nature, the different natures, and the human diversity. The human diversity is a civilized value of Africa to respect the human diversity. You know, the nature here in Brazil, for example, the only religion that make the make the doesn't persecute people from their different ways to think is are the African original religions. Because of that, we are so persecuted. You know, because here in Brazil, once we follow the ancient tradition, we accept in our tradition the homosexuals, the bisexuals, the lesbians, the heterosexuals, the people that don't make sex, that are make the how can I say celibate, the people, the celibatary, the people that make the even the priests, what they do there. What we do by your body is a problem. Is your nature. It's a nature that is God that's given for your own need. That's a question of mental health. You know, it's not a question of religion. Your nature, the way you follow the truth. For example, here we have, for example, by our region, by this concept of civilization in Africa and another Brazilian origin of Africa, that is Umbanda, that's a Brazilian Santeria that we have here, that's different, that comes from African origin. For example, we have the concept that the people, it can be Christian, can be Muslim, can be evangelical, can be Protestant, but everybody it has their own way to follow the truth, and nobody asks the people, the entities that cares about their religion. The people has religion, has no. The people wish not to convert the people to that religion, to give support, and we don't even request if people has or no religion. You know, is a thing, is a brother of mankind. That is we have to respect the way the people search the truth. You know, and this is African traditional religion. This is African traditional kings and queens. And so when they say that here we believe in peace, the Imale, the Onegbagbo, the Ilevo Orisha, Ilevo Dum, even Arebo, since they respect our civilized values, the civilized values,
Okay.
the civilized dynamics, yes? So is that Africa has to risk that. Yes, our civilized values are our codes. It's like that. Sorry, it's like that.
Okay, Professor, I want to ask you. You said which African philosophers came before European philosophers?
Sorry?
You taught us that some African philosophers came before European philosophers, and these African philosophers that came before European philosophers, what did they do? Why don't we hear about them?
No, I don't say that. Don't say that African philosophers came before the European. I say that European philosophy of some European philosophers inspired themselves in African culture, in African philosophy, African civilizing values. You know, in our civilizing, but not that we had philosophers as recognized as philosophers, because just by the academy, philosophers, to be a philosopher, you have to be recognized by the university. And the university, there was no university in Africa at the time. We have the Creole, we have the Oriki, the people that made Oriki, we have the people that made their songs, we have the oral tradition. That's where our philosophers, you know, that's where our philosophers, the people, our kings, our Araba, our Awo, that's where our philosophers, these moral codes, the people that create the oral tradition, were our philosophers. Now, our philosophers was dispersed in our culture, was not in one person, was among us. Now, our philosophy was alive, as it nowadays is alive in Africa. But erased by this tradition, violated by this corruption, by destabilization, since the political division of Africa to take our natural research. What I say that our philosophy, they existed, but not exactly the philosophers that were dispersed in our Orikis, the people that made Orikis, Arokins, or the griots of the Bariba, all the people that make our oral traditions, the people that used to transmit the Aldus of Ifa, the Aldus de Itan, our philosopher and our Rita, for example, is a very good arrogance, a very big arrogance we have in Brazil. The pastor says, but your tradition, you don't have a book as the Quran or as the Bible. You are not religion, you are not a philosophical tradition. But we have, for example, oral codes of the Odus of Ifa with more than 256 Itans, Odus, with each one with 600 Itans. It's a literary corpus of orality 500 bigger than the Bible. At that time in the order of our Babalao, and the arrogance of the West doesn't recognize just because it's not right, but the orality has its advantage, has its the orality, the orality way of thinking is not. It doesn't mean that you are an alphabet, that you are not, that you cannot illustrate. But there are some things in orality that is just for orality. For example, when you say Ashe, Ashe in Yoruba, Ashe, Amen. But it's also law.
Yes, amen.
Oh, yes, because the word has Ashe. When you say, because of the ancient, when you say Ashe, it means that it will happen, that it happened. Because the word for itself has Ashe. But because for the traditional origins, we didn't have the human. So the word of someone has to be reliable. Because of that, we say that the Eke is someone that is a moral transgressor, that doesn't merit our confidence, doesn't merit nothing. Because in the West, no, in West you have to sign. Now in the West society, but for all our societies, we had Asher. When say the law, even our word is a law, and you see the deterioration of a word that even with the humans, we see the corruption in the area. You see the difference of our markets before what we were in the civilized values that the people said, no, we have to colonize these people. We have to say the Bible. We have to, they distract us. It's to distract us. The way that you do, they can make the God, the ego God to be, but the way they do that is to distract our civilized values. When they say Asher, and people know this is a thing, but in that there are the confidence of our word, our moral code. To not be a cat is not a thing for the Muslim, for the Christian, for example, for the traditionalists, even for the Laigo. It's our moral. It's not religious. It's civilized. Another thing just to understand in Shango, Orikis that in Shango is that he takes the ceremony to the Muslim. That's a history. That even the Quran, the Islam, the Muslim tradition, because of that when Shango made the peace, when the peace with the Malay that came from Mecca, that with all the history that I think of Dudu and that came from the Mecca. That's a history among that in the Malay that is about Dudu to legitimate the Malay origin of Dudu. Someone wants to legitimate his origin Malay, the origin Muslim of Dudu. But they say that, and then when they made from the peace, Tango did start did don't drink any more palm wine and eat the flesh. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Not eat anymore pork flesh, because in respect of the Muslim. And in chant, and send my ancestor, direct link of Shango, that is Alapini, to go to the mosque, to the Juma, to the Friday, to the mosque today, to the Muslim with the Shah, to accompany, to follow the ceremony, and the Shah, the Muslim priest came in the George Akuta, the day of Shango, to the ceremonies of Shango, to celebrate the peace. And there also the he takes the Sunday with the Christians, but there also he persecutes the Christians because of that. What is persecuting the Christians? Because this kind of Christianism that was Christian, it was to erase our tradition, and we from Shango we are direct descendants. We are guardians of the civilization. As the Oshun, my work is that the civilized and values by this human size. the Africanization. We need, you understand, my sister, why we have to re-Africanize our human science to see the world by our eyes. Yes, you have to study the European philosophy, but by your eyes, and not say the thing that our civilization is inferior, because this has purpose. We need to be Christianized. Yes, people can follow the way is the way they follow the truth. Yes, but we have to keep our values because it's the reason, it's the tragedy. You have massacres, you have the poverty, all the stabilization factors. We have to found or refound our institutions, public institutions, from these civilized, because you see, even the word for us was valid, and now we have even a fuck president there that all the constitution that make that you think that destabilize us. Imagine if we had another our institution was based on our civilizing values. It never happened. Our petrol were not we could have even investment, but our petrol, Nigeria, the petrol in Europe, Nigeria, will not be stolen. The poverty
Okay.
reduce it. The order. We will not be exploited. Will not be corruption. People
Okay.
selling corruption institutions to make corruption. Yes, to punish corruption. They don't that doesn't interest them and let the others to happen. You know, you not be that. So you are the African Renaissance has to happen there, and you have to convince in the world that we are a market to, for example, instead, if the West has to develop technologies to don't need of too much of our natural research because
Okay.
otherwise they can we have for Nigeria the most biggest population. Imagine the market for the West that should be Nigeria. If you make our renaissance and we see the development of the human capital, yes, the investors, the CEO, the investors, we should see and even develop the Nigerian industry and even stimulate the education, our culture, our values, the not to corruption of our institutions. You to be different. But if you have an evil president like that it will be difficult. It can start from us, from the intellectual. We understand everything. You have to reskill
Yes.
our civilized values that are in our imagery, that are in our alive with us, and make and even our economy, the microeconomy, and our economy could develop from this the microeconomy for the macroeconomic system. If it is imposed a macroeconomic system of capitalism, we have to follow to respect our microeconomies. For example, in the Muslim, you have the Muslim finances in the Muslim countries because the nature there requests the nature of the desert requests that system. The nature here in Brazil is the same in the very dry countries, dry states, and the very poor. The women they wear the age, the yellow, our yellow. We have an economy
Yes.
of yellow. You have an economy of yellow. You have to study the origin of the market. When we study Keynes, the School of Vienna, the neoliberal, all the schools, all the schools of economy, you have taken into consideration your microeconomy, your origin, your economy follow your cultural basis, cultural civilization to impose a macroeconomic system. But when you see, oh my God, a president like that, it's for despair. We have to do, we have to press, we have this consciousness, we have to wake up India, for example, and you have to think, we have to speak English, but not, we have to think in our language, in our mind. You have to talk our language, you have to think, and you have to communicate among ourselves in English or in French, yes, but you have to know the way I think because our way to see the world is different of the European. For example, the English and the French, they see the world in a linear way. In a linear way. For example, the columns of the Greek columns, in Greece, they are all equal. Equal. The columns of the Greek temple, equal. For example, I do. When I went to Egypt Egypt is one African civilization. Yes, the columns of the Egyptian temples, they are if you see by far, they are all echoes. But when you see near, you see that each one has their own draws. Yes, because you see is the dialectic way of to see the double. For example, you see what's objective, what's general for everyone, the history. If the concept of history to the European is just one, what just one have is just the memory, the notes, the history, the historic register. Something that happened that's perceived by everybody, by the society. For us from Africa, there is the objective and the subjective. Yes, that was for the tribe, everybody, but we have our history, our our keys changes, and by the time as not a rigid civilization, we have to take advantage of our civilization. For example, there are something like that. You have the interpretation like that. Our civilization have the key that to write along all the life. Is a bioro. People see when the people see the people and think they are keys by the recognition of the symbols in the face. That
that is called tribal mark.
Huh?
It is called tribal mark.
Tribal mark.
The mark, yeah, tribal mark.
Okay.
Okay.
See, when people they call tribal mark, they see in some of the key is the social recognition. Yes, of a history that you change for the generation. Yes, our tradition is dialectic. This dialectic is objective, yes, and subjective. Subjective because it's chance. It's for each one. There's the key of the city for everybody. But we have our own. All of us are agents of history. Our ancestors. Is a view, and it is wonderful what we can be a society if you get there in the modernity. What wonderful we can do. What we can do of technology. If you recognize, rebirth. India has developed the technology by their own society because in the India the way to see the world. They see that they have 9 ways, the philosophy, the ways of the truth, the darshan, they call. There are 6 based on the Vedas, on the scriptures, and 3 not based. So everything can be seen by several ways. You can have several ways to count on sister. And European is limited to one. So think in European, learn European, write and forget our language. Think in this way, imitate, be submitted to them. In India, they speak in English with accent, but they don't learn. They learn India. They learn English from their own language, from their own symbolical background. Yes, for their own culture, from their own from their own origins, from their original culture. Yes, I learned from my from my symbolical background the English. I not submit for the English, but the English submit for my culture. So we have to look Europe for our eyes, and not and submit to them. And imagine how could be our civilization if you take all the wonderful way of philosophy and develop science, develop politics, and develop everything in Africa. And it can start by Pan-Africanism. And us us in the intellectuals, the people that are in the scholars have to think that. We have to learn the Europeans, but you have to see by our eyes. Yes, and if it's a reason, if you see our constitution are based on Europe, on this constitution, on all that, all the institutions, you know, and everything is this, you understand everything that's not, and everything what
Yes,
happens.
I do.
Yes, and you can use our even our civilized values to get in harmony, this fire of coexistence. You know, to generate. We don't need to be submitted to the West civilization. We have
Okay.
submitted civilization to us. Japan,
Okay.
they had get a big civilization because of that. China, 40 years ago, it started like that. They came from a center for humiliation in the opium war of the English, you know, and our currency will be stronger if we reflect our civilization. So the Nigeria currency worth nothing because it reflects this corruption, this civilization, you know, but the corruption, the civilization you have now. But if you have the balance of civilization, our currency economy will be stronger, you know, and you have to convince the West that invest in the youth, in all the stabilization. And then you have to create and generate the technology to need less, to need less. Now it will be more possible because the petrol of Nigeria you take more time, you know, and Nigeria cannot produce sand, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, so it's too many things economic, too many things that African Union has to think, and in this way.
Okay.
But I stay very sad when I see that these things on the people doesn't react, don't have this consciousness, the richness you have in your own society, and to being and to have it, we have in Brazil, and have a very colonized mind. When I discovered African's hand with this way of thinking, this way of dialect of thinking. Yeah, this way of thinking, not the linear thinking, to see like the word as a line, but in the bad way. For example, as Deus Xangô, Oyomesi Ogboni. It's a double society. Everything is double. It's a double society. Everything is double. Yes, everything is double. It's the popular and the kings. Yes, one side was Baliba, one side Yoruba, Inquete, one side Fon, one side. We have these that accept our society. It's not a society of the fight of the other. Yes, the society of harmony. When you see the arrogance of the West philosopher Hegel that say that you are an inferior society because you are influenced with the other. Yes, but you know, you see in Brazil Hegel as our reference, but our reference is the African society. The European is the other. We are colonized, and you see in Africa, we said Hegel as the level of the highest philosophy, and our philosophy is the other. The dynamics, the dialectic is dynamics, and when I according this philosophy, and if you read my book Anthropologia of Churches, the orality,
Yes.
this kind of orality, to see the image, from image the sensation, without pass by the word, by the writer. Yes, because of that the African accumulates too many languages, speak too many languages. The people in Nigeria, for example, the Kwa region, the people Igbo understand normally the Yoruba that understand the language of the language, because this way of seeing the imagery, the sensation, the imagery, the image, the image that is done, that you feel the incorporation for the Shah, for example, is that because you feel you see the image, you make the image, and you feel inside the incorporation from that. So you see from imagery to the sensation, yes, direct. So incorporate language as a child. When I see that and the double way, I pass from 2 languages, 3 languages, 14 languages, and more 15 codes. You know, are you change this richness of Africa? Are you accept of the evil and Kardec say, or people say that Africa were people that was delayed this year hegemony relations of culture. That was that European done with us. Our societies before the colonization was there, and after come the anthropologists of them, come the priests and the missionaries to make this process of change of this. It's not a problem to be Christianized, not that, but we have to pay attention that they are in doing that to destabilize the way they are doing, because the way to follow the truth is from our society. Yes, we accept everything, but we have to keep our civilized values. That's our patrimony to the restore African institutions and to be reflected, not in superstitions, not superstitions on the. I say, for example, the Babalawo takes there, all that, they make all that. Okay, the practice of the Christian, the Muslim are different. But what is in the code of Babalawo? What makes the ADME, the Alafim of send the right to the Hajj, to the Mecca, was in the civilized values there of the peace with the Muslim, the Holy Key. It's the civilized values that the foreign causes that makes Africa, and you warrant the stabilization of Africa, and for not us make the civil war and be victims, as in Sudan, of the people that sell weapons, yes, or in Congo, the people that explore, but all that, the people that you have there, will have the access to the mineral resources, and you have to convince the West that we are markets of capital human development, and our civilization make us more able to that, because now they have the technology for that, and we can share. At the moment, it's more important than develop artificial intelligence that will distract employees. That even in USA they are so limited. The industry of culture, the industry of culture of USA, they make a very technical people, and with so limited high school people, and with a limited mind that refuse all supposed ideology that's not the ideology of them. That this artificial intelligence can destruct and enslave the societies. As fake news societies, they have to pass by a rebirth, by a renaissance too. Yes, all the countries in this moment of barquinha. É lá, só vê lá. Ele fica do lado de lá. Eu não sei não. So, sorry, but we have in this moment transition energetic of the world that too many things will not be more needed. Develop this kind, the human development kind of technology. Yes, it's a neoliberal concept. It's not a Marxist concept. It should be. It was the historical moment, But the US has to see that they learn more. For example, Congo is the most big francophone country in the world, more bigger than the first. Imagine the country if developing capital of human capital to France, to China, to everybody, which should be as market Sudan, Congo. If it was not all the destabilization created there to create a war, to take the resources, to the cell phone. Yes. So the technology that created that, because they keep doing that. They have the means of communication that manipulate us, our opinion. All this structure has to be done. Yes, we have to keep our civilization, our renaissance, and convince that we provide the sun to them, and they provide to us the tech, and in change we are the market. Yes, of development to create industries and everything, and so they earn more than our currency and everything. Yes, that will reflect on civilized values. So will not be the dollar. That's the embargo. That's the oppression. That's that. Our currency will reflect these African countries, our society, as the yuan of China will reflect their reign, the sense of human. Yes, if they do that, reflect civilized, because when you don't have any more monopolar world, you have a multipolar world. Each civilization, the Euro of Europe, will remain will signify will present itself as the European civilization. The Nigerian naira will get strong if you have the strong civilization values of Renaissance, a strong economy, and it's needed, you know. So everything is not in superstition there in the war. So you see what is in the code of the war is not superstitions, can be civilized values. In India, for example, the Indo Renaissance that starts with Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, when the Indian society was the first. I had been there in India, but this idea of Renaissance, I received it there, and in this every day the cultural elite was Christianized, colonized at the time, at the end of the ninth century, and so we started a movement in Bengal that I think I have told with literature. Tagore, Vivekananda, with the belief that in the political war, the man was Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. You know the process, India, independence, and this was India the modern, yes, and also that influenced the African independence in the first cycle of the African Renaissance of the 20th, that formed even the African Union basis. But the African Union has to promote there and don't have to take serious, otherwise we'll be distracted. Yes, we'll be hungry. We will have people cannibalized so that you know, and you don't have more. We have to have more Rwandas, that that wake up to this process. If the population is more Christian, but our values, our African values, is to be strong. Our common values that were that came from America, and to link to the diaspora. It's my work here in that. It was that, my sister. I am at disposal. I get emotional to that.
Okay, Professor, thank you. You have said everything I wanted to say, and I will say thank you. We will still be calling on you from time to time to analyze more on African politics and philosophy. And you have mentioned a lot of things. You said that we should come back to our values. When we come back to our values, we'll be able to produce. Then when we produce, the poverty will be reduced. Then we don't need to be respecting the Europeans, as in the case of maybe we need to decolonize our brains from their culture, because we are multicultural societies, and we should appreciate that, which is good. Because right now, we are just consuming. And I love the fact that you also mentioned India. Yes, you said India values their culture. They are using their language to teach, and they are still learning English. So unlike Africa, everything the Europeans bring for us, it is what we are consuming. And you have said a lot of things. I can go on and on. And you also mentioned technology, which is really bringing India out. When you talk about information technology right now, the ICT, the AI, the artificial intelligence, you have Indians, a lot of Indians. But when it comes to Africa, it is corruption. Even though Indians too, they have corruption, but they are rising. But in Africa, because of European, that is just one mono, what I say, they're not much multicultural like us. So you have said a lot, Professor, and I appreciate.
Because of the Renaissance system, this Renaissance, the India taking the curse for the darshan, for example, the Mandukya Upanishad has the sense of the Big Bang, the same sense of the Big Bang, of the creation of the universe, explain the same sense, and the physical, the number zero, and everything that is in India, and the India philosophy. They develop the science, they take the West science, everything, but the way to develop, and they were the best Indian microprocessors of the Silicon Valley in California, that is now chosen, were India. And they take to the India the technology, and now Karnataka, people are wanting Karnataka, is one the Bengaluru, because India formed more than 2 million engineers and had the escape of brands, and now they are coming back to India, to develop in India, because people wish not more to finance the Silicon Valley, because the center of the strategy of military for USA and the wars that stabilize of the world, people wish not finance, and India. They have the same, it's cheaper in India. The most, and the Chinese too, they start to think in Chinese, one of the best technology has the Chinese concept. They have the Renaissance. You said the Chinese Revolution, the past, the superstitions make terrible things. The abortions there, the history of 66, the horse here, and after tells us even the Chinese cultural revolution that raises these values. But after, they are, I'm working Chinese too, because I also Chinese roots in the past. I work with Chinese by the Chinese Renaissance also, because the science to be produced, they were also producing that, and the best heads of MIT, the Massachusetts Internet Technology, are from China. The best heads from USA are Chinese and India that promoted the Renaissance, and the best mathematician of the world elected 10 years ago was an Nigerian. They made even, the car from the urine there, it was a technology, that it's possible, and if you do the Renaissance, you can develop technology with your media, but the microeconomics, the organizer, the macroeconomic system, the general language has to respect these. You can't steal this, because when China has done this, and India has done this, India will surpass China in technology.
Yeah.
And even the problem of India's population distribution and the economical system of them, that they don't follow the Darshan system. They don't follow. There are too many linked to the British economy of them. The science there, but the structure of the infrastructure of them is too many linked to the British strategy too. Yes, they have to reorganize some things in the strategies with another countries in the BRICS and the Russia, Africa, to make another route. They are too more dependent with some European countries. They have to make some variations to open more to another. Now with BRICS, G20, they are opening more. Yes, but they have to have a system, the caste system, the system of division, of social division in India, has to be reorganized. Yes, to don't have the poverty, to guarantee, because they have a research to feed other people, to guarantee. Because even Gandhi, Mahatma say that the worst violence against someone is the hunger. Yes, and Nigeria has all this research, because it doesn't interest the hunger. The hunger is also a political decision. Yes, but the world produces 1.5 more to feed other people. Even some countries request more because one problem is the North countries that you say to have a level of life as the North countries, we had to have 2 or 3 planets. So this technology don't need. With the petrol, the transition energetic, to reduce when you produce the technology, you don't need too many kind of research. There you see anymore, they will be eager, and you see us as markets to develop our capital human, and we have to finance that, is a defense system, to guarantee our alimentary security and everything, because the hunger in Africa and India and China is a political decision. It's not a problem of lack of nourishment on aliments. It's like
that. Okay, Professor, thank you. We have to call it end today, but we will keep in touch anyway. So thank you from Nigeria. Ẹ ṣé o, ó dàbọ̀ o, ẹ kí ilé, ẹ kí gbogbo ilé o, ẹ kí àwọn ọmọ everybody, ẹ kí àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ yín o, the students. So,
Me, I like to say, Chioshuni Oshe Onishali Anyaka. I do for Oshu as I do for anybody as is Yoshu. I do for my people as is Yoshu. I can never pay anybody. I guard it and I don't lay for nobody.
Okay. Bye bye. And have a nice day. Okay, double.
Oshu